Bob Barry. I'm on the Building Our Vision team and property team. About 25 years ago, my wife Lori and I decided to become Unitarians. We were both raised Catholic. Our parents were Catholic, their parents were Catholic, and so on and so on. Now, in our house growing up, going to church every Sunday wasn't a choice. You had to go. So once I moved out on my own, I had a choice. I chose not to go. Why did I lose interest in the Catholic Church? To me, it was too religious, not spiritual enough for me. It was repetitious sermons and readings from the Bible from some saint, from some letter to the Corinthians or the Romans or whoever. I just lost interest real quickly. I couldn't relate to it. Years passed. Lori and I met in 1984, and we together once in a while went to a church. After about a year and a half later, we got married. Yes, it was in a Catholic church. And why not? We were still Catholic. So it made sense to us at the time, besides our parents would be mortified if we didn't. So we picked a church in West Groton that we both knew, and it looked nice on the outside, nice old stone exterior, stained glass windows, not too big, not too small, just right. And then 10 years later, when our son was born, he, of course, was baptized in the Catholic Church. But still, even after all those years and all those ceremonies, we didn't feel a connection to any one church anywhere. I guess we just used it to suit our needs at the time. To me, religion is a man-made construct. Some believe a divine revelation from a higher power. If religion and spirituality go hand in hand, then why does it feel like, to me, it doesn't? Do we choose it, or does it choose us? And at what time in our lives? When we're younger or older? We decided the Catholic Church wasn't for us anymore. Did you know that, according to Google, there are roughly 10,000 different religions in the world today? Many of them alike, with slight differences. Now, I wasn't going to go check them all out. I don't have time for that. I got to go to work. So we checked out a few churches here and here, in the area. But we just couldn't find anything that seemed right until we came here to the Unitarian Church. And I knew nothing about Unitarian Universalism. They were welcoming, but not in your face. They talked about everyday things, and it seemed like down-to-earth stuff, covering things that I could relate to. Because the last time I looked, that's where I am, right here on Earth. Their principles were easy to understand, and they made sense. We eventually became members and got involved in many groups, and still are today. I've been on the property team for over 20 years now. I've worked on every building, on it, in it, and even under it, meaning the basement. This church, this congregation, is like an extension of my family. The property team gives me purpose, a sense of belonging. And just like at home, I have a honey-do list. and that's okay, because I like keeping active. It makes me feel more involved. And when things don't get done and someone isn't able to do it, others step in. And that's what I've seen here, from the older folks to the kiddos. Now, last September, I took on a project. It was for snow guards on the much-needed Chapel and White Wing school roofs. Now, snow guards help the snow and ice from crashing down onto the playground. One estimate was over $11,000. I thought that was too high. So I looked into doing it myself. I had 20 years of commercial roofing experience, but I'd never installed snow guards. How hard can it be? So I watched a YouTube video, and I installed them, picked up the materials, and donated my time and got the job done for under $4,000. I also want to give a special thanks to John McHugh and Scott Campbell of the property team, and in no small situation with Reverend Allison, Erica, and all the teachers and kids for letting me work over their heads. So. But don't think you can run home and watch any old YouTube and think you can do anything. Because believe me, some of them don't work. Because like at home, I'm trying to child-proof my house right now. And I've watched several YouTubes. And I don't get it. They're still getting in. So in closing, I'd like to share something for you to think about when you want to think about getting involved. There's a sci-fi movie called Contact with Jodie Foster. There's a scene where I believe it's unbelievably true, what she says. She's talking to a colleague who was chosen over her for a very important mission. And he says to her, "I wish the world was a place where fair was the bottom line, and that idealism that you showed earlier was rewarded and not taken advantage of. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world." Her response, well, it was perfect. She said, "Funny, I always believe the world is what we make of it." Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob. And for the record, those snow guards are working great.
Especially now?
Our final reflection is from Tabitha Chapman, who joined in 2010.
Dave's actually going to join me as well. Yes, I know. Okay, all the way down. Oops. Okay, hold on. How's this? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, good morning. I'm Tabitha Chapman. My pronouns are she and her. I'm joined by my husband, Dave Wilson. When Alison asked me to speak about how we came to UU, I have to say that my smile just broadened. It was really big, in spite of being sick at the time. And I remember thinking, oh, this is wonderful. And I was flooded by this long sense of warm memories. Almost like those little books that you can flip and you can see the little story come about. It was that instant. Dave and I moved to Nashua in 2003. Just okay.
I'll take care of it.
How about now? Is that okay? She said very close. She really did. Okay, so Dave and I moved to Nashua in 2003. Both of us have moved a lot, and by a lot, I mean a lot. Ask us anytime. And we've moved for work, for family, for consulting, for internships, you name it. But this time felt a little bit different. So we moved from, and this is the farthest north we've ever been. We moved from West Hartford. That's not very far, but this felt a little bit different. So as the years went on, I think it had been about 3 to 4 years, so that puts us at about 2007, I think it was. We decided that we wanted to get to know the community here. And we looked at each other and we thought, gosh, how do we get to know the community? We're not very churchy people, and we thought, well, church? We literally looked at each other and we thought, church? Okay, we'll try church. And so we came to UU. And one of the, so I'll just give you a little bit of background about our religious historical experience, I think similar to Rob's, was most of our experience was south of the Mason-Dixon line. So that should say a lot, as well as the various different Catholic countries that we've lived in. So again, that should say a lot. I think Dave was just asking me about how was Opus Dei at some point. I'm like, yeah, well, not much of a community there, right? So anyway, so we kind of came, we attended our first service, and we thought to ourselves, gosh, they seem like normal people. Are we missing something? So that was the beginning of it. And so Steve Eddington became our first minister to convince us that UU was the right place. But it wasn't Steve. And he did so, of course, in those wonderfully challenging, thank you, just had eye surgery about a couple of months ago, still adjusting the eyes here. But he did so not in his usual, typically wonderfully thought-provoking sermons, as every other minister has done since then, but it was everyone that was a part of it, every single one of you that we've encountered, every one of you that we've had conversation with. And this grew from, and I go back to some of the time, Jeff and Anya, who would organize some of the music that we had artists, the coffee houses, right, that we had here. To, I think, Jen and Michelle, who organized Thanksgivings, communal Thanksgivings. Again, when you're not from here, it's really nice to have a community that we come join.
Seder dinners.
Seder dinners, Passovers. And so all of this, and then I think about John, who we had very intimate conversations about my pocket sugar glider that I think I brought to church on a regular basis. So you named the gamut, it was real. Or our weekends with everyone in the community in Saco, Maine. Circle dinners, Pam and John, who've moved away since then to Canada. But all of these have formed that community, piece by piece, relationship by relationship, day by day. And while our children have been born or fostered in some cases, and some of them have graduated in the blink of an eye from college, one of the things that continues is the ebb and flow of the whole community. Every one of us makes up that connection, again, month by month, year by year. And just like the body renews itself, I think every cell in the body renews every 7 years. It feels like we have, so while people come and go, we continue to be this body, this one functioning, breathing body together. Lost my thought here, hold on a second. So what we have in common is our principles and all of our experiences together. So while I don't know exactly, well, I know the exact date that we came to UU and Steve was there and everyone else welcomed us at the time. I don't know when I became one, but I know for sure, I feel like I've always been one. So it feels like a coming home of sorts because of each and every one of you in all those conversations. And I have to say that as I thought about this, the words that came to mind, I thought, attention, I cried, was that the mystery is we're all connected. So thank you.
There's no way I can top that. So, honestly, you said it perfectly.
Thank you for your community.